You doing all right? Tired? No. No. Welcome to the MasterMind Library. They call me Ferdinand, the bringer of balance, leader of many disciplines, and one of your hosts of the MasterMind Library, the home of the MasterMind Book Club on FHTII.com. Trigger, how you doing? Not doing too good? Okay. You don't want to talk to anybody today? Okay. Okay. Well, maybe you'd like to introduce our live audience. What we got over there?
Huey.
Very good. Yeah, that's Huey over there.
He over there.
Who are you? Very good. What's this?
Daddy.
Daddy, yeah. What's that right there? What's this?
The
MasterMind Library?
Okay.
All right. So it's episode 139, and we are in Booker T. Washington's own story of his life and works. And this episode, we are in chapter 21. Let's verify it. Chapter 21. All right, so let's go ahead and put it up on the screen. Let's get to where we need to get to. It's chapter 20. So let's do it.
Chapter 20.
Yeah, that's chapter 20, but we need to be on chapter 21. So chapter 21 is 2 X's and I. Right?
I did.
Those are the Roman numerals. That's where we are.
Okay.
All right, so let's make sure that we're a little bit larger.
What the library? You start finding and then read about it and then read about it. Here we 50 material. Bye.
Great job.
Good job.
Yeah, I really appreciate that introduction. Very, very good. Very good. All right, so let's go ahead and make the book a little bit larger, and we're going to go ahead and get started. A description of the work of the Tuskegee Institute. The reader has doubtless noted that much space has been occupied in this volume in detailing the history of the Tuskegee Institute, and to the casual reader, this may have appeared out of place in an autobiography. When it is borne in mind, however, that the whole of my time, thought, and energy for the past 18 years have been devoted to the building up of this institute, it will be conceded that in any autobiography of mine, a history of the Tuskegee Institute is unavoidable and necessary. When the history of Tuskegee Institute, since its founding until now, shall be completely written, you will have also a history of my life for the same space of time. It shall be my purpose in this chapter, therefore, to give some definite idea of the extent to which the Institute has grown, and also to describe with some degree of accuracy the work that is being accomplished there in its various departments, viz., agricultural, mechanical, domestic science, nurse training, musical, Bible training, and academical departments. As has been said many times before, the school began in 1881 with only the state appropriation of $2,000 per annum, specifically for the payment of teacher salaries, and for no other purpose. The method by which we have succeeded in securing the 2,267 acres of land which the school now owns has heretofore been described. These 2,267 acres of land are mainly comprised in 2 tracts. The tract that forms the site of the Institute is composed of 835 acres, and is known as the home farm. The other large tract, which is about 4 miles southeast of the Institute, composed of 800 acres, is known as Marshall Farm. Upon the home farm is located the 42 buildings, counting large and small, which make up the Tuskegee Institute. Of these 42 buildings, Alabama, Davidson, Huntington, Cassidy, and Science, halls, the agricultural trades and laundry buildings, and the chapel are built of brick. There are also two large frame halls. Porter Hall, which was the first building built of the Tuskegee Group, and Phelps Hall, a commodious and well-appointed structure dedicated to the Bible training department. The other buildings are smaller frame buildings and various cottages used for commissary, storerooms, recitation rooms, dormitories, and teachers' residences. There are also the shop and sawmill with engine rooms and dynamo in conjunction. The brickyard, where all the bricks that have been used in building our brick buildings were made, is also situated near the school. Last year alone, the brickyard made 1,500,000 bricks. It is equipped with excellent and improved machinery for brickmaking and is under the immediate supervision of Mr. William Gregory, a graduate of Tuskegee. The total valuation of the property, including the yards and all buildings, the home and the Marshall Farms, is placed at $300,000. This does not include the endowment fund. The agricultural department of the school has at its head Professor G. W. Carver, a graduate of the Iowa State University, and a man of experience as a scientific farmer and a scientist of no mean acquirements. He has 8 assistants who help in looking after the divisions of dairying, stock raising, horticulture, and truck farming embraced in this department. The state of Alabama appropriates annually the sum of $1,500 for the maintenance of an agricultural experiment station in connection with our agricultural department. Some of the experiments of Professor Carver have attracted much attention, and it is recognized that his conduct of the station is doing much to show what improvements upon the old methods of farming may be wrought by scientific agriculture. This department is well housed in a beautiful brick building containing a well-equipped chemical laboratory, erected at a cost of $10,000, adapted to the purposes of agricultural experiment and other apparatus necessary for the dairy and other divisions. It is through the direction of the agricultural department that the vast amount of farm and garden products used by the 1,200 people constituting the population of the school when in session is grown. About 135 acres of the home farm are devoted to the raising of vegetables, strawberries, grapes, and other fruits. The Marshall Farm, with 350 acres in cultivation, is utilized for the growing of corn, sugar cane from which syrup is made, potatoes, grain, hay, and other farm products. Mr. J. N. Galloway is the manager of the Marshall Farm. It is worked by student labor, keeping from 30 to 45 boys on it constantly. There is also a night school up on this farm for the accommodation of students who work there, which is a branch of the main night school at the Institute. At present, the farm night school requires the services of 2 teachers. The Marshall Farm not only produces a large amount of the farm products that are used by the school and its 800 head of livestock, counting horses, mules, cows, oxen, sheep, and hogs, but also furnishes opportunity for students to learn the art and science of farming, at the same time attending night school and making something above expenses to be used when the student enters day school. A large portion of the Marshall Farm, about 400 acres, is utilized as pasture for the dry cows and beef cattle. Everything grown upon the farm is sold to the school at market prices. The expenses of running the farm are also accurately kept. At the end of the year, a balance is struck. Last year, the Marshall Farm come out over $500 a head, including in the expense account the salary of the manager. The mechanical department of the institution is now housed in the well-equipped trades building, recently completed at a cost of $36,000. It is known as the Slater Armstrong Memorial Trades Building. It was dedicated and formally opened on Wednesday, January 10th, the year 1900, and is the largest building on the Tuskegee Institute grounds, and stands between the Agricultural Building and the new chapel. The shape is that of a double Greek cross, having an open court, 85 by 112 feet, in the center. When completed, it will measure 283 feet by 300 feet, the main or central portion being 2 stories high, the wings 1 story. This measurement does not include a room for the sawmill, which is to come at the extreme rear end, owing to the fact that sufficient money has not yet been obtained. The rear portion of the building, consisting of 7 rooms, has not been completed. It is built entirely of brick and contains 27 rooms. In round numbers, it took 1,000 bricks to construct the building thus far, and every one of these bricks was made by students under the instructor in brickmaking, and laid in the wall by students under the instructor of bricklaying. The plans and specifications of the building were drawn by Mr. R. R. Taylor, formerly in charge of the architectural and mechanical drawing department of the Institute. The general oversight of both the planning and construction was, of course, exercised by Mr. J. H. Washington, Director of Industries. The interior arrangement of the building are splendidly suited to the teaching of the trades. The rooms, while varying in size from 37 by 42, the smallest, to 37 by 85, the largest, will average 37 by 55, the ceiling being 13 feet high. On the first floor, there are the director's office, reading room, exhibit room, wheelwright room, blacksmith shop, tin shop, printing office, carpenter shop, repair shop, woodworking machine room, ironworking machine room, foundry, brickmaking and plastering room, general stock and supply room, and a boiler room, and engine room. The second floor contains the mechanical drawing room, harness shop, paint shop, tailor shop, shoe shop, and electrical laboratory, and a room for carriage trimming and upholstery. Each shop has a cloak and tool room connected with it. Better lighted rooms could scarcely be found in any building. Each shop receives light from 2 sides and end. The office, reading room, and exhibit room are finished with wainscoting to window sills and plastered from there up and overhead. In the drawing rooms, the walls are plastered, but overhead the ceiling of the room is of yellow pine, paneled so as to show design. This ceiling is painted white. The other rooms are not plastered or sealed, but have what is called a yellow ochre finish on the walls. The machinery in the building is run by a 125 horsepower engine and 75 horsepower boiler, both donated by Mr. C.P. Huntington of New York. Each division is well supplied with all of the tools, appliances, and machinery necessary to its successful working and to the accurate teaching of the trades. The director of this large and important department is Mr. J. H. Washington, who has under him 22 instructors for the various divisions. The department for the teaching of the domestic sciences has for its directress Mrs. Booker T. Washington. This department embraces laundering, cooking, dressmaking, plain sewing, millinery, and mattress making. It is at present housed in several small frame buildings, except the laundry, which is located in a brick building. Friends have already given money for the erection and equipment of a building for this department. The foundation of this building has already been laid, and within a year, we hope to have the division of this department permanently located in it. Not only are the trades above named taught in this department, but the young women, under the motherly direction of Mrs. Booker T. Washington, are taught the duties of systematic and orderly housekeeping and duties pertaining thereto. The nurse training department is run in connection with the school hospital and has for its instructors our resident physician and a competent trained nurse. It has not constituted a separate department, but has formed one of the divisions under the director of the mechanical department. The increasing demand for trained nurses in the South has necessitated the establishment of a regular training school for nurses in connection with the school hospital. A complete course of 3 years has been adopted of practical and theoretical work in the wards of the hospital, 2 years of which consist of daily work and instruction in the hospital, and the third year of lectures, and beside instructions, while 1 or 2 days of each week are devoted to hospital work. There are special provisions for those who apply for this department only. The school is open also to those who do not wish to follow the work as a profession, but desire to know how to intelligently care for the sick. The division of music is under the supervision of the director of the academic department, and like the nurse training department, it has not constituted an independent department. While the study of music has always been encouraged at Tuskegee, and considerable work has been done, we have been able only within the last few years to furnish a systematic and thorough course of study. The course in pianoforte embraces 4 years. The institution owns 8 pianos, 2 cabinet organs, and a library of music. Vocal music is taught to the classes in the academic department throughout the entire course. Tuskegee students are famous for their fine singing of plantation melodies, and it is the object of the Institute to make these old, sweet, slave songs a source of pride and pleasure to the students. There are at Tuskegee the following musical organizations: a choir consisting of 75 voices, a choral society consisting of 150 voices, organized for the study of music from the masters, glee club consisting of 40 male voices, glee club consisting of 20 female voices, male quartet whose work is to travel in the North. The institution maintains a splendid brass band of 30 pieces, which is instructed by a competent director employed by the school. Any student possessing knowledge of wind instruments will be given a chance to enter the band, but this knowledge is not essential to membership. The band plays every school day morning for inspection and drill. One of the most important branches of the music department is the orchestra, which consists of 14 pieces. The same rule regarding membership in the band holds good for the orchestra. The orchestra plays every weeknight at evening devotions. Many students who have played in the orchestra have developed into competent musicians. The director of the band has charge of the orchestra. All students belonging to the orchestra are subject to certain rules governing this organization. The Bible training department was established in 1893. The desire for increased opportunities for those who wish to fit themselves for the ministry or other forms of Christian work in the South had been long felt. To meet this need, a generous lady in New York erected at Tuskegee a building called Phelps Hall, a picture of which is herewith given, containing a chapel, library, reading room, office, 3 recitation rooms, and 40 sleeping rooms, to be used as a Bible school. The donor of this building furnished each room in the most comfortable and convenient manner, making it one of the most beautiful and desirable buildings on the school grounds. The instruction is wholly undenominational. It is the aim of this new department to help all denominations and not to antagonize any. The Bible school is not in opposition to any other theological work now being done, but it is simply a means of helping. The faculty is composed of some of the strongest men in the country. Reverend Edgar J. Penny is in charge of the work, assisted by Reverend B. H. Peterson, RT, retired, Reverend B.T. Tanner, Reverend C.O. Booth, D.D., and retired Reverend George W. Clinton have been engaged to give a regular course of lectures during each term. The members of the Bible school are required to do mission work on the Sabbath in the neighboring churches, preaching and teaching in the Sunday schools whenever their services are needed, and to make weekly reports and writing of the work done. It is not necessary to have a special call to the ministry to enter the Bible school at Tuskegee. Many who desire to do only missionary work or become intelligent teachers of the Bible in the Sunday schools will be greatly benefited and helped. Indeed, quite a few of those who are now members of this department are fitting themselves for this kind of work. The demand for an educated ministry is growing throughout the South, and those who expect to preach must prepare themselves for the work. This department was established for the express purpose of giving colored men and women a knowledge of the English Bible, implanting in their hearts a noble ambition to go out into the dark and benign districts of the South and give their lives for the elevation and Christianizing of the South. Last year, 83 students attended this department. This was the largest attendance since the department was founded. Last but not least, I mentioned the academic department, which offers a thorough course of instruction, nearly, if not quite, equal to the high school courses of the northern and western states. No language, however, except English, is taught. It is our aim to correlate the work of the academic department with the industrial departments, and it is the policy of the school not to give any student a diploma of graduation who has not completed the course in at least one division of one or another of the industrial departments. Last year, of the 1,164 students who attended the Institute, except a part of those in the Bible training school, all were taking studies in this department, either in the night or day school, they being about equally divided between the night and the day school. The night school course is so arranged that a student is enabled to do just half the amount of work in night school as in day school. A student in night school will therefore cover a year's work, as laid out for day school students in 2 years. Last year, there were 77 graduates from all of the departments. I cannot close this chapter without making some special reference to the chapel at Tuskegee, which is regarded as the architectural gem of the Tuskegee group. It was planned by Mr. R. Taylor, who was then our teacher in architecture and mechanical drawing. The work of construction, even to the making of the bricks, was done wholly by students. The cost of erection of the building was valued at $30,000. The following is the description of the building, a cut of which is also given in this volume. The plan of the chapel is that of a Greek cross, the main axis extending from northeast to southwest. The extreme dimensions from northeast to southwest, extending through nave and choir, is 154 feet 6 inches. The dimensions from northwest to southeast through transepts is 106 feet. The roof is of the hammer beam construction. The clear span of the main trusses is 63 feet, which is the width of the nave and transept. The angle trusses have a clear span of 87 feet. projections from the wall under trusses, slightly decreasing the span. The gallery on back is 30 feet, extending over girls' cloakroom and 12 feet into main auditorium. In the rear are choir room, study for minister, and two small vestibules, one on either side of chapel, giving entrance to choir room, study, and main auditorium. A large basement is provided, and in this, the steam heating plant is located. At the northeast end of the auditorium is the pulpit platform, which is large enough to seat the entire faculty of 88 members. This platform is 2 feet 6 inches above the main floor. Immediately behind this, and elevated 3 feet above it, is the choir stand, with seating capacity for 150 persons. The chapel is sufficiently supplied with windows to give abundant light and ventilation, a very pretty effect being secured by the use of delicately tinted colored glass. The woodwork is all of yellow pine and hard oil finish, except the floor, which is of oak. The seating capacity of the auditorium is 2,400. 1,200,000 bricks were used in the construction, all made and laid by students. All the moldings, casings, and caps used were made by students. The floor is bowed. The height of the walls from top of floor is 24 feet 6 inches. From floor line to highest point of ceiling, 48 feet 6 inches. The height of tower from line of ground to top of cross, which terminates it, is 105 feet. The electric lighting is from 3 main chandeliers with 30 lights each, 10 of 2 lights each, 12 of 1 light each, and from a reflecting disc of 40 lights over the choir stand. Gradually, by patience and hard work, we have brought order out of chaos, just as will be true of any problem if we stick to it with patience and wisdom and earnest effort. As I look back now over our struggle, I am glad that we had it. I am glad that we had it. I am glad that we endured all those discomforts and inconveniences. I am glad that our students had to dig out the place for their kitchen and dining room. I am glad that our first boarding place was in that dismal, ill-lighted, and damp basement. Had we started in a fine, attractive, convenient room, I fear that we would have lost our heads and become stuck up. It means a great deal, I think, to build on a foundation which one has made for himself. When our students return to Tuskegee now, when our students return to Tuskegee now, as they often do, and go into our large, beautiful, well ventilated, and well lighted dining room and see tempting, well cooked food, largely grown by the students themselves, and see tables, neat tablecloths and napkins, and vases of flowers upon the tables, and hear singing birds, and note that each meal is served exactly upon the minute, with no disorder and with almost no complaint coming from the hundreds that now fill our dining room. They, too, often say to me that they are glad that we started as we did and built ourselves up year by year by a slow and natural process of growth. And that concludes chapter 21. On our next episode, we'll be coming back with chapter 22 on looking backward. And as you can see, this is why we do this. We do this for the next generation. Reading is very, very, very powerful to give to your children. You reading it to them yourself. And all this is the MasterMind Library. This podcast is just a demonstration of gifting the reading to your children from as early an age as possible. If the first time you read to your child is 13 years old, hey, that's what it is. Just stay consistent after you start. right? But if you can start from birth, that's where you really want to do it. If you can start from 5 years old, whenever you start is the time that you want to do it, as early as possible in their life, and give them these stories. Let them hear your voice speak these words first, and often they may fall asleep while you're reading. you know. So yeah, y'all be blessed and expose your gift.